All right, well, let's talk about the West Coast because there are some fun games this
Yeah.
weekend. And then as we look to next weekend, this weekend, three teams have byes in the Pac-12. Two of them play in less than 2 weeks. Chip Kelly taking the Bruins back on up to Autzen Stadium in Eugene to play the aforementioned Ducks. And I had Oregon over the weekend. I'm telling you, man, and they got to live with 49-3. This team, we said it many times, 29 missed tackles, a bunch of those were forced. 329 yards after contact, a bunch of those were forced. But since that game, they don't miss tackles. They don't allow yards after contact. The secondary locked down a really good passing attack over the weekend. Bo Nix, he's going to have a stage. We'll talk about it next week, but he's going to have a stage. But with that said, put that game to the side for a second. Let's talk about SC going to Utah. We talked about Utah a ton in the preseason. We talked about a ton after the Florida game. UCLA, they ran the ball. Zach Charbonnet, I don't know what your short list of top running backs in America is,
He up
but
there,
he's got
top
to be
10.
on it. Right, D?
Yeah, he up there for sure.
He's
For
up there.
sure.
So what do you think about SC going to Utah? I want to hear where you guys are at and like the national and your region thought on
Right.
that, and then I'll tell you what I'm feeling having been around those teams.
To me, Utah losing, I feel like their backs against the wall because obviously they were able to kind of run the tables last year, and it's like this is a must game win for them as a program for them to kind of stay in that conversation they've been in, like New Year's Six bowls, even winning the Pac-12, and so obviously it would have been like it may not easier, but they get the win last week against UCLA. They kind of come into this game a little more. You got a little more leeway. You lose two, and a lot of your dreams start to go down the toilet. Because I think a couple of teams will probably be one loss, or somebody will come out undefeated, I would think. So I think as a Utah team, this is like a must-win game for them, and vice versa. I think this is a big win for Lincoln for them to really legitimize what they're doing. Because I feel like that's another team. I think they're playing well, but it's not like dominant every weekend and week out. It's like they're playing good, and to me, like the potential, they are like Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison. They're playing really good. You can tell me you see it more than I do, but I feel like they're not going crazy like people thought it would be. Like every week, 500 yards of throwing, and it's just. And he was the Blitnikoff Award winner. Like it's not that, but they're getting it done. And so to me, this would be a great win for them as a resume builder to go in there and get this win.
All right, Clint, who you got in this one and why?
I got USC in this one just simply because I think that Utah is one, they don't have what they had to play for. With two losses now, your college football playoffs are over. You're flirting with I mean, just being out of the conversation in the Pac-12, if we're being completely honest, with the schools that are rocking and rolling right now as we see it. Yogi, you're more qualified to tell us about that. But I think when I watch Utah, there was a lot of conversations early about them about, man, it's the team first, the 11 guys on one accord, the culture's great, this and that.
Right.
That's powerful. It really is, until you run up against a team that can just light the scoreboard up. And you're not, I just don't think Utah is built to win a shootout. I don't think Utah is built to go in there and score with USC. And to be honest with you, I don't even know what the stats say, but I do not believe that Utah is going to stop USC. And so I think it's a shootout if it's close at all. And I don't think Utah is built to play that way, to win that way. Now they can. We've seen them score a lot of points. We've seen them, but again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like when I watch Utah score a lot of points, it seems like it's a quarterback that's not super athletic out there running around for his life, and he's got grass stains from head to toe. It looks like Bo Nix at Auburn, where they are just, I mean, he's going to leave with his tongue on the dragging the ground when the game's over. There's nothing easy when they get in that shootout type of ball game, and I just think that USC is more suited for that leading into this game.
Yeah, it's so compelling, this ball game. So let's just start with the setting. 5 o'clock. It's going to be 70-some straight sellouts at Rice Eccles, which is Utah Stadium. The last time SC went on the road, I called that game at Oregon State, and they struggle with the noise. Ball starts, having to call timeouts. Like, it was just a different deal. You've seen them adjust offensively since that game a couple weeks ago. You've also seen SC, I think, offensively, to your point, D, like, they haven't been boom, 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 boom. Jordan Addison left the game injured Let's hope he plays. We'll see what happens as the week goes on in terms of their game against Washington State over the weekend. They didn't have their captain and linebacker, Shane Lee, the transfer from the SEC as well in that ball game. But it's the defense that keeps growing. Like the TFLs, like the movement up front. Alex Grinch, he's going to pick whatever head job he wants, in my opinion, if he even wants one coming out of the season. I think he's that primed for a bunch of the openings that exist currently and that likely will exist as the season continues. But with that said, for Utah, I'm telling you, man, I had them 2 weeks ago, and I was like, okay, Florida game, defensive front was young. They lost, obviously, a first-rounder in Devin Lloyd, 2 other guys that played 40-some games in their career there. They're going to be good, though. They've got the young guys and now have a half a season. UCLA moved the line of scrimmage. And I don't think that's something you can really fix. Like, I think you can find ways to scheme it, and guys are going to play with great effort, and their defense is all freshmen and sophomores right now in the front 7. But to your point, like, Travis Dye is the guy that nobody talks about in SC. He just keeps getting 130, 140 yards a game. This O-line
wearing no gloves.
Yeah, wearing no gloves. He's never been a glove guy.
That's what you know somebody is like, as a back, you're like, bro, this ain't wearing no gloves. He either is terrible, he is literally absolutely terrible, or he's a dude. And he falls in the category of being a dude.
Bro, he's gonna finish his career with over 4,000 rushing yards. Right? If you think he's one of the all-time leading rushers at Oregon, and he's having a heck of a season for SCs. But my whole point to kind of net out is that I think you guys are on it in terms of, for Utah, 2 weeks ago they lost their best player, Brant Keithy. I mean, this guy did everything. The offense was built to run through him. He's a tight end, wide-out hybrid. And they're trying to find their way. Like, who's the guy to have a guy? They got to have a conversion on a third down. They need an explosive play. They haven't necessarily found that consistent person yet. SC's defense, I think, is really active. So I think we got a great game back and forth. I think if Utah can slow down the run, they play a ton of man coverage. They can survive. They got Clark Phillips, who'll be in NFL. He'll be a first-round guy. He's kind of like Trent McDuffie from a year ago, who ended up going to the Kansas City Chiefs. If they can eliminate some big explosive plays, they'll have a chance because the home crowd is that legit. But I'm so excited to watch SC go on the road again, and how do they handle this one? Because they had one, and you said earlier, great teams just find a way to win and move on. They found a way to win. Last play of the game, Addison, a whole shot from Caleb Williams, and away they go, get back on the plane, come to L.A. From Corvallis. They're going to have a little bit of that in this ball game, and I think that their offense, they just kind of keep leaning on you. And your point about Utah's offense, I don't know if they have enough firepower to keep pace, but I think we get an awesome game in Salt Lake City. So that's where I net out with that one.
We're dropping our merch. We got to start calling Underwood Daddy Brad. But I'm a big pod guy.
Breaking news. The Field of 68 has an online store, and it's your one-stop shop for the latest and greatest merch in college basketball and college football. You can find shirts to support your favorite team, make fun of your rival team, or boast Field of 68 catchphrases like Daddy Brad, Cussin' and Discussin', and the Star Heels. Go to www.fieldof68.shop today and enter promo code TOUCHDOWN for 20% off at checkout.